So today I'm going to be walking you through how to assemble these easy hand sanitizer holders. So stay tuned and I'll show you how it's done. So for today's video, you're going to need a hammer, a key ring, some disappearing ink pens, rivets, painter's tape, a hole punch, thread rippers, scissors, and heavy-duty denim thread, and of course some vinyl. And I'll make sure to put a link below for all the materials that I'll be using today. So you just want to grab a mat, and now that you've downloaded the files that are from my shop, then you just place the vinyl onto your mat. My mat isn't sticky anymore, so what works for me is just using some painter's tape. I just picked this up at the hardware store, and what makes this unique is just that it's meant to be removed. It's what painters use to get crisp lines on the edge of walls, so that after they're done painting and it dries, it can be removed. And you can also make your own painter's tape. All you need is masking tape, and then you take the tape off, and then what you do is you just put it onto your clothes to get the lint onto the tape, and that'll get rid of some of the stick so that it's not as sticky. But you don't need to do that with painter's tape because it's already not super sticky. So I've got this in place. I decided to put it lengthwise. You can see it's a bit too long, so I might cut that off to fit into the machine. Just because, of course, you can move the patterns around, but the pattern that I'm cutting today is lengthwise. So I set my Cricut Maker to heavy duty fabric, and I used the rotary blade. So I found that it cut through just like butter, and it just took maybe a minute to cut out the sheet. So definitely use your Cricut if you have one. So after you cut out the pattern for the sanitizer bottles, you're left with two pieces like this. So how it fits together is, first you want to fold that over and fix it, and you put the keychain through there, and then these two pieces go together like that so that the hand sanitizer goes in the top and pokes out the bottom so that it ends up looking like this. So the first step we have to do is to do the tag right at the top. So what we're going to do is I like sewing it. I have a lot of people asking me if you can glue it. If you want to glue it, go ahead. You just need to get something that's really, really strong, because it has to, like, if it gets up, something that will not be able to pull apart. So I'm going to do some research to see what I can find, but I like sewing it just because I find it looks more professional. It looks more like something you might buy in the store. So some finishing techniques are to top stitch along the top here first. You also want to top stitch along the circle of both of these. So that's the first thing we're doing. We're going to top stitch. So you want to set your stitch width to as slow as possible. As slow as possible, so here, and then as wide as possible. So I'm going to go to 3.5. And that just makes it look the most professional. You want a big stitch, and you want to stitch slowly so you can get nice corners. So as you can see, I've added I'm using some denim thread, and you can get this in maybe around 3 different colors. I'm just using just a regular yellow. I've also got that in the bobbin, and this is what's used for sewing jeans, so it will add a really nice look to it. So I'm just starting in the corner. I'm going to sew 1 stitch, and then I'm going to go back 1 stitch, and then now I'm going to continue forwards, and I have about a 2 millimeter margin. So I'm going to stop at the corner, oops, and put the needle down, lift the foot up, turn, and then continue sewing, and this way you get a nice sharp corner. So I keep going a little bit too far, so hopefully it won't cause, anyways, so turn it, when you get to the end, you want to go back 1 stitch, and then you go back towards the front 1 stitch, and then that's it. So it's a little bit messy just because it's hard to see through the camera, but yeah, you just want to do a top stitch here and try to keep it the same width, side and bottom, so around 2 millimeters, and then you just want to do the same along both of the openings. So now that the fabric is top stitched, the next thing you want to do is attach the hoop. So here, what you want to do, we're doing this part right here, the tab. So just grab a key ring. You can get them at the dollar store, Walmart, Amazon, and then you're going to want to fix it with rivets. So what rivets are they're for leather craft, and what they do is they kind of, they're sort of like staples, and they just sort of fix heavy duty material together. So that's the punching tool, and then that's the hammering tool. You put that over the rounded part and you hammer on top. So you can play around with the colors. The hardware is silver, but my stitches are gold, so I guess I'll go with silver. And there's 2 sizes. I'm going to go with the larger size. And so there you can see there's the top and the bottom. And I don't really use the punching tool just because it's loud, and I don't know, I just find I prefer to use a punch. So this is not a regular punch, it's a slightly smaller punch. And I'll put the link below. It's a craft punch. So what you do is you fold it over, and then you eyeball where you want it to be. So I want it to be right around here. So I'm going to use the stitch as a guideline, and I'm just going to try and center it as best I can. Whew, okay, that looks good. And then I'm really bad because I eyeball things. I don't always measure them. So, and then I'm just using the first hole as a guide and punching through there. And then you just put the 2 sides of the rivets together, and then you hammer them together. And that's permanent. You'd have to cut the fabric to get that out. Turn into a rounded corner. You start there, you do one stitch and then a stitch back in the same spot, and then you go all the way around until you reach that point. And then you start here and you go all the way around, and then you're done. So I'm just going to sew that up. So here's the finished project. So you can see it's a really easy project. And other ideas are, if you have an embroidery machine, you could put your initial here. And so you can try lots of different fabrics. You could use old jeans, cut those up. How it works is it's just a pouch, and then the hand sanitizer just fits in there. So, and then you can add a carabiner clip, and then you can attach this to the outside of your luggage or your purse or your gym bag, or if you go hiking, because you're gonna go to the washroom outside. So I do a lot of hiking. That's why I mentioned that. So you have to have hand sanitizer, and so that could fit on the back outside of your backpack. And and you can also put a little lotion in there too as well. Well, thanks for watching, and make sure to leave a comment below if you have any questions, and comment, and please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.